Keanu Reeves walked into this luxurious restaurant expecting nothing unusual. But what happened next left everyone in shock. The staff dismissed him. The guests ignored him. And the waitress? She made a mistake she would never forget. But what she didn't know was that Keanu wasn't just another customer. He was about to teach everyone in the room an unforgettable lesson. Stay until the end, because this story is one you won't believe. When Keanu Reeves walked into Lumiere, a luxurious restaurant located in the heart of Beverly Hills, he couldn't have cared less about the lavish surroundings. The city was alive with neon lights and sports cars zipping by, but Keanu stepped in, almost in stark contrast to it all. Dressed in simple and plain clothes, he wore a wrinkled t-shirt, a comfortable jacket, and old jeans. His attire didn't shout out that he was one of Hollywood's most famous stars because, frankly, he wasn't there to draw attention. Keanu preferred a simpler, more grounded lifestyle, far removed from the world of glamour. In a space where the other guests were clearly expecting something different, Keanu's presence was almost overlooked. The restaurant itself, on the other hand, was a place meticulously decorated with luxury and elegance, exuding a level of sophistication that stood in stark contrast to Keanu's understated style. From the outside, Lumiere looked like a sparkling world in itself. Through its large windows, the interior was exposed, revealing shining crystal chandeliers, elegant tablecloths, gold-plated walls, and oversized paintings adorning the walls. The light streaming through the windows illuminated every corner of the space, highlighting how every object was thoughtfully and perfectly placed. The other guests, sitting at large round tables, weren't just dining. They were making a statement. This restaurant wasn't just about the food, it was about lifestyle. It was a place where celebrities and the wealthy elite of the city gathered. Everyone there scrutinized one another, and no one could afford to be ordinary. Keanu's presence in this environment was quite out of place, for apart from the luxury around him, he appeared to be just a simple man. Clara, one of the most experienced and prestigious waitresses at Lumiere, had worked at the restaurant for years and had learned to adapt to the restaurant's aura of prestige. She didn't just do her job, she had become a part of that refined atmosphere. The uniform she wore, her perfectly styled hair, and her ever-present smile helped her fit right in with the elite customers of the restaurant. In Clara's mind, only those with a certain social status were truly worthy of being called customers in this restaurant. And Keanu was definitely not one of them. His plain clothes immediately made her believe he couldn't possibly belong in this high-class setting. As she looked at him, she immediately made a judgment. This man doesn't belong here. Clara watched him as he moved through the restaurant, his presence barely noticeable to anyone. He walked with his hands in his pockets, almost as if he didn't care about anyone else around him, heading toward the farthest, least prominent table. As she realized his intentions, Clara quickly sped up her steps and approached him. There was an air of disdain in her gaze as she neared. Keanu's simple attire gave the impression that he was the type of person who wouldn't be shown respect at most other restaurants. Clara couldn't help but ask, with a hint of sarcasm, "This is a very exclusive restaurant. Are you sure you belong here?" Keanu, completely unfazed by her tone, simply replied in his usual calm manner, "Yes, this is the right place." Clara gave him a quick once-over. His calmness and the way he simply brushed off her rude remarks started to irritate her. Despite her reluctance, she directed him to the farthest corner of the restaurant, the one where the lighting was dim and the atmosphere much less inviting. Keanu, unfazed, didn't argue. He simply smiled and opened the menu. Clara placed it on the table with a little more force than necessary and said, "If you need anything." but only if it's necessary. Before walking away without a second thought. When Clara came back to take his order, she was so eager to get away from him that she paid little attention to him. She glanced at other tables, clearly more interested in the other guests. Keanu, however, didn't react. He was calm, collected, and entirely unaffected by her dismissive behavior. While the restaurant bustled with activity, his stillness was profound, as if nothing could disturb his peace. Clara, deep down, felt something was off, but she couldn't put her finger on it. Keanu, despite the harshness of the service, didn't seem to let it bother him in the slightest. As Clara approached his table to take his order, she couldn't help but be surprised when he ordered one of the most expensive items on the menu, the Rossini filet. She raised an eyebrow, thinking that someone like him didn't deserve to make such a choice. Still, before leaving, she sneered, "This dish costs $350, just so you're aware." Keanu, with his usual calm demeanor, responded simply, "Yes, it sounds wonderful." Clara, now more frustrated than ever, decided to teach him a lesson. She delayed sending his order to the kitchen, letting it sit while she made small talk with other customers, purposefully ignoring him. As she wandered around the restaurant, Keanu remained unaffected. He continued to look at his menu, remaining patient and composed as the minutes stretched into what seemed like an eternity. While Clara made her rounds, Keanu's calmness, contrasted with the hustle and bustle around him, became more and more apparent to the other guests in the restaurant. It almost seemed like he was a beacon of serenity amidst all the noise. To some, it became a quiet lesson in how to handle adversity with grace. After a while, the truth about Keanu was revealed. The restaurant's manager realized that Keanu wasn't just a guest, but one of the restaurant's owners. The manager quickly made his way over to Keanu's table, apologizing profusely and showing the proper respect. Keanu, unaffected, simply said, "There's no need to worry about it." But the shift in the atmosphere of the restaurant was palpable, and Clara suddenly realized how wrong she had been. The manager, recognizing his mistake, approached Keanu and said, "Keanu Reeves, it's an honor to have you here," bowing respectfully. Keanu, still calm, replied, "There's no need to worry, but I think something here has gone wrong." Keanu turned to the manager, speaking firmly but without raising his voice. "Everyone deserves respect, regardless of their appearance," he said, adding, "This place should be about inner values, not just appearances. Our job is not just to serve fine food, but also to value people," giving a clear message to the staff. Clara, now fully aware of her mistake, understood the error of her ways. Keanu smiled slightly and said, "There's always time to learn," allowing her the opportunity to correct herself. Clara, with tears in her eyes, realized the gravity of the error she had made. Keanu turned to the rest of the staff and spoke, "A person's worth is not determined by the clothes they wear, the cars they drive, or the brands they carry. Real value comes from within. This place is not about judging people, but about understanding them," he said. Clara, wiping away her tears, bowed her head with regret, her eyes meeting Keanu's as she acknowledged her mistake. Keanu, smiling warmly, added, "Yes, change starts with small steps, and sometimes those steps come from something that seems as simple as this moment." As Keanu left Lumiere, he left behind many questions and valuable lessons. His calmness, patience, and respect for others resonated throughout the restaurant, leaving an impression on everyone who had witnessed the exchange. Walking through the glittering streets of Beverly Hills, Keanu felt a deep sense of satisfaction. Everything had unfolded as it should. He was not just a celebrity, but a leader who had shown others how to value people, not judge them, based on appearances, and to act with kindness in all situations.